Welcome to the show. Looks a little different today because we are all at home because of a massive winter storm that dropped what? I don't even. How many inches of snow, Cowboy Reed?
A hot little 5 or 6, a little average, but a ton of ice.
Lots of ice in America right now, Cowboy.
That's right. Just ponds on the road.
Yikes.
So, hey, thanks everybody for being here. We appreciate it. We're rocking on YouTube and Twitter. Appreciate it. Jump in the chat with anything you see, and go Broncos. Great season.
Yeah, I can see the chat's already warmed up, arguing with each other about football. That's what we want. Guys, there are only 2 teams left, and we've got a rematch of, I don't know what Super Bowl it was. I lose track. I want to say it was like 50 or something like. No, it wasn't 50. That was the one we were in.
I think it was 48. 50
48?
was, yeah, 50 was Broncos. No, I'm tripping.
I'm saying
but it's
49.
a rematch. It's a
49,
rematch.
49.
And I think, honestly, the NFL's happy with this rematch. I think these are 2 great teams. Certainly, that would have been, not to say that the NFL had something to do with. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not being one of those glue sniffing people that think it's rigged. But I do think this was the best possible outcome for the NFL. No offense, Cowboy Reed, to the Broncos. Reed, first off, how are you doing today?
Doing all right. Kick the field goal. All we need to do, kick the field goal. But great season. Nobody thought we'd been here or we'd be there. 2 out of 3 goals. Sean Payton had 3 goals, got 2 out of 3 of them. So, feeling all right, feeling good.
And I just want to say, if anybody's wondering why I'm wearing these sunglasses, they actually block harmful light from my screens. And it was actually Dr. Fax who inspired me a week ago. Somebody was like, "Why do you wear sunglasses every day?" And he was like, "The lights in the studio are brutal."
They are.
And I was like, you know what? And my wife got me these shades that block, the light from your screens, and I wear them at night, and they're legit. So I'm just going to do it. And it's because it's the best thing for me. And
you just got to make sure you click out of the porn tab because you can see the reflection sometime.
Oh shit! Yeah, let me close that real quick.
Speaking of that,
speaking of that, going back a few days, did anybody catch the crowd shots at the college football national championship game?
So great, legendary.
Yeah. So, anyways, if you don't like the glasses, you can have all the significant physical, mental, and developmental issues, including eye strain, neck and back pain, and obesity, disrupted sleep cycles, increased risks of anxiety, depression, and social isolation that comes with screen time. It's not going to happen to me, though. And we are off and running. Should we start? Do we have a dog of the day today, fellas?
Dog of the day. Any dogs out there making it through the snow? How did Willie and Tony do in the snow?
They did pretty good. Yeah, they did pretty good. I don't think they understand how cold it is. They don't want to come inside. And Tony looked like one of those people that surf one of the Great Lakes, where they have like icicles on their beards and shit. Like that's what my bulldog looked like. He had like icicles coming down his face. It's legitimately cold as fuck here. And when you think about the weather, which I love doing, honestly, the NFL dodged a big bullet. You want to talk about bullets the NFL dodged with Buffalo not winning that game, because that game would have been New England. And if you saw the shots of that stadium, that game was not happening yesterday.
That would have been a full game blizzard, not just the second half of the fourth quarter. That would have been a full game. Yeah.
Now, what we got in Denver was incredible. I mean, that's I know Kurt Warner doesn't like this stuff, but that's football. And it's all about, situational football in that circumstance, taking care of the football, finding ways to win. New England did that. Guys, should we start with the first game of the day? Should we start with the game in the afternoon? Is that what the people want? Okay.
Which one are we starting with? Afternoon?
Yeah, the early game. We'll do this thing sequentially.
Perfect.
Listen, I come away from this game and I say, hey, the Pats are battle tested. They're battle tested. A lot of people are going to question what they did or didn't do against, this team, that team, who they didn't play. That stuff really doesn't matter. They're standing at the doorstep of the Super Bowl again with a second-year quarterback and a team that had an 8.5, 9 win total, and a team that honestly I think people had maybe in the wild card. Very few people had them winning the division. I know Nate had them in the Super Bowl. I don't know that a lot of people had them in the Super Bowl. This is an incredible story, and it's one of a team that is extremely well coached, that underwent changes to the roster on the fly, right? Like, reshuffling the safety room would be one, right? But I think as the season goes on, they did a great job of figuring out their personnel. Mike Vrabel just got there, figuring out who he can depend on, who he can't depend on. They didn't have a multitude of weapons outside. They still don't. They have a quarterback in Drake Maye who's ahead of his years. He didn't have a great game throwing the football yesterday, but that Denver defense is incredible. I think through 28 minutes of the game until Stidham basically gave it away, it was a game where you said it was going to be really hard to move the ball, and I think that probably informed Sean Payton's decision-making in a way. I think depending on how you look at it, you could say, hey, kick the field goal, or hey, a touchdown's going to be, a kill shot for your offense, which is I think what he was thinking. Listen, I think when you look at the Pats and their run, you can make it reductive as you want. You can say, hey, it was they beat Justin Herbert, they beat CJ Stroud, they beat Jarrett Stidham to get to the Super Bowl. I look at it the other way. I look at it as, sorry, somebody got what?
I think Nate was laughing, but I agree with you, Chris. Like, you're talking about them being battle tested, dude. Think about this, man. Their defensive coordinator was ill, and they had Zach Core take over halfway through. Like, they have actually been through some shit, despite their schedule being easier than a lot of people. Being easier, whatever the fuck people have to say, is like, dude, they just got through an absolute battle for the AFC.
Yeah, but here's the big thing. They, and I'm sorry, Nate, if I'm interrupting you had a thought, but I think playing 4 of the top 5 defenses in the NFL going, on this run. I mean, you're going to play, I don't know if the Chargers land in the top 5 defensively. I think they did. You get the Chargers, you get Houston, you get Denver, and now you're going to get Seattle. So if they are able to pull this off, just an incredible run for them. And they haven't had to do it scoring 30 points a game. They're averaging 16 points a game, but they're taking care of the football when it matters, right? They didn't do that against Houston. They did it yesterday in a game where that was the name of the game, taking care of the football. Denver did not take care of the football. And you think about this murderer's row of defenses they're going to face if they can win this thing. I don't think anybody can really question where they are as a program. I mean, like you can try to take it away from them if you want, but I thought Drake Maye's legs, I know that was the whole game. 10 for 65, 5 of them go for first downs, iced it with the keeper, which I think is incredible when you consider that they let him do that with the footing being the way it was in that situation, had the faith in them to execute it. I don't think that's like a situation where if you don't get it, you think you're going to lose the game, because Denver was having a really hard time moving the football, but it certainly ices the game. You don't have to go back and punt the ball again. I think the biggest scramble of the game was that 3rd and long on the decisive drive coming out of the half. And I got to shout out Ramondre Stevenson with a huge pickup on Zach Allen. They're running a little twist in there. And just to get enough of Zach Allen so that Drake Maye can take off with his legs. But again, didn't do anything the first 28 minutes of the game offensively. But when it came down to it, taking advantage of Denver's mistake in the red zone against a great red zone defense, when you have not been a great red zone offense, again, Drake Maye's legs, quarterback keep, perfect call. Just a really well-coached team. And I think probably the biggest thing to me, guys, and I'm curious what you think, is, does Sean Payton not have a weather app? because and we can talk about that call. I personally think the call's the right one to go for it. I think it's the wrong play call. I think it's the right call. I heard somebody say this today. You go up 14-0 on that team, they're not going to beat you the way your defense is playing. I think it's the right call. I hate the rollout with one option. It's design rollout where you're going to hit somebody in the flat. They're all over it. I thought they were having more success spreading them out, creating space for a quarterback who can run a little bit, working quick game. I didn't like the call. But the drive of the year is New England at the half. We used to do a fly on the wall in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Were they all huddled around a weather app, on that New England coaching staff? I wouldn't put it past them saying, hey, if we can put together a 7-8 play drive here, it's going to be the end of the game because this weather's moving in. If you look at the shot when they take the ball to the half of the scoreboard on the all-22, and then you look at the next shot of the scoreboard when they get it back, it's a fucking full-on blizzard. And so the gamesmanship, the understanding of the assignment for New England.
And like you said, shouldn't that be someone's job to be paying attention to weather when it's going to do something to potentially affect the game, whether it's rain, snow, sleet? And for that reason, like you said, obviously they didn't care or think about it or have that thought in their head. But I feel like if you do have that thought in your head, hey, this blizzard's coming, we might not see any more points, maybe you do kick that field goal, or you're thinking about that if someone on the sidelines hey, maybe we want these points. This snow's coming in, and we might not be able to kick a field goal for the rest of this game.
Well, yeah. I think to Sean Payton's credit, we're saying, I think that's all the more incentive to try to score when you have the momentum. It's 4th and 1. Going back to what you said, Chris, to me, I think the play call is what I was disappointed in. I can completely understand why you'd want to go for it there, go up by 2 scores, capitalize on momentum early, especially at home. But I wouldn't have overthought it so much. Just run the fucking ball, man. And, don't get me wrong. Denver has not been a great running team. The Patriots have a really good run defense, but they have Denver has a good O-line. And to me, it's just run it right behind Quinn Miners, do some sort of tush push. It's, that's to me where I think the mistake was made. And I don't know, I just call me an old school football guy. Just fucking go downhill, dive solid, try to get a yard.
It's easy to second guess it, and people are going to say coming out of it. I thought Sean cost them the game in other ways. Can I ask you this real quick? Just think the thought process with it, and everyone keeps saying if you take the points or if you score a touchdown, it's still a 2-score game. Obviously one way they have to score 2 touchdowns, but another way, 10 points, you still have to get, you got to score twice. You got to get the ball, you got to move the ball. So what? And then what? When it's tied at 10 late in the game and it's a blizzard, and this was your best chance to win the game, to y'all's point. And again, I hate the play call. Bo would have pounded the rock. I would have spread him out. I would have spread him out, given him a run pass option late in the down, make them declare what they're in.
But isn't that hard with a new quarterback? A quarterback that you haven't seen operate in that.
Yeah, but he's been in Sean Payton's offense.
I've seen him, in that first half.
But in game situations, it's just, I feel like you probably don't have the full playbook open to what you're willing to try right there in that spot.
I don't know, man. I still maintain, and this is the problem with a guy like Stidham who hasn't seen action in a couple of years. What are you going to do when Bidet can't cross the formation and get out into this screen action? And are you gonna take a sack knowing the game situation? Are you going to throw it the fuck away into the second row? Or are you going to double pump it and throw it backwards?
Yeet it backwards.
That's the game. But as far as making throws, he made some throws in the first half. I mean, he had the yips. He missed the screen. The next play, you come back, you get man-to-man coverage. You take a shot, you hit it. He hit what was it? I forget who it was. Maybe it was a little Jordan Humphrey or Sutton, but it was an in-breaking route where he's under pressure. He puts it right on him. He's early on him out of his break, and he can't make the play. But there were some throws that he made on target. I would have trusted him in that situation to pick up the first down, because they essentially did with what would have been an easy play to the flat. They don't get Milton Williams blocked, and he runs right up the field. They come out, and they go 4-man front, and they stem to an inside gap alignment, and that was the answer. I don't know if there was a check with me that you could have had, but I just think, like, to credit the Pats again, taking care of the football. You can go back and you can zoom in on that call. I didn't like a couple things Sean Payton did. The use of a timeout late was a head scratcher. I thought, on third down, and part of this is Stidham possibly, where Sean Payton wanted him to get down in bounds maybe before that kick before the end of half. Now, the Patriots didn't burn them because they weren't able to hit the field goal after the Drake Maye scramble, but you basically put them back out on the field with a chance for a 2-for-1 in a low-scoring football game. That's terrible because Stidham ran out of bounds. Okay, it didn't end up hurting you. I thought there were a ton of spots where Sean Payton got out-coached in this football game. Like, I gave Sean a lot of credit as far as, like, getting a backup quarterback who he's familiar with ready to play. But when it came to situational football, Mike Vrabel continues to out-coach people. And he's running away with Coach of the Year because he's got his team in the Super Bowl.
McDonald, though, he's got an argument to make, Chris, but for Coach of the Year. But talking about this game, like, dude, one thing I was, I guess, impressed that the Patriots defense did is just, dude, they've been pressuring the fuck out of teams, especially in the playoffs. I had Noel pull up some of these stats, but they got 49% pressure rate in this game, and that's, just all pressures combined. Milton Williams, you mentioned him earlier on that one play, like, he had 8 pressures. Getting him back right before the start of the playoffs has been so big for them. But what I really wanted Noel to look at was, like, the blitz rate. It's like Zach Core he's a kind of a new face at defensive coordinator. Like, I feel like I don't really know him that well, and I looked up his background. Like, he doesn't even have a defensive background, which is kind of fascinating to me. But anyway, he had a 38% blitz rate, which, like, they've been blitzing the fuck out of teams. Like I said, 32% in the regular season. And then when you get into the playoffs, 47% in the wild card, 46% in the divisional round, and 38% in this game. Like, I just kind of like that, man. I feel like that's indicative of, like, you kind of figure out your team, what defense you have, what's working, and just riding the hot hand. And then when you get a game like that against the Broncos with a pretty inexperienced quarterback in Stidham and all these weather kind of, everything that's going on the field, like, I just kind of like that. Like, it makes a lot of sense to me. Just blitz the fuck out of them, do what's been working, and go from there.
You're going into a game against the team, and we'll get to talking about the Seahawks in a minute here, where their front is they're a motherfucker to deal with. And I would say, listen, they've got Pro Bowlers, the whole thing, but I don't think they have one player who's far and away better than the group. I don't think they have, like, one dominant player who's, like, and listen, I love the group. I've been hyping this group up longer than national media heads have. I'm just saying that they don't have the Nick Bonito type guy, right? Now, I love Leonard Williams. I love Tank. But, the Patriots have a group as well where Milton Williams is the lead dog, but it really is the sum of the parts. There's a lot of, like, role players who play really well in this defensive line. You mentioned guys like Durden or Chason or, any number of these guys that just play gap sound, that play aggressive, that get pressure on the quarterback. It's not flashy, but they're always doing the right things. I think it's another sign of just a gritty Mike Vrabel football team. But when you talk about the fronts and the front they're about to face, Seattle, who didn't get a lot of pressure last night, right, in the Rams game. May's been sacked 15 times in these playoffs. And that does worry me a little bit. Like, even Pats fans, I think, in this chat who have been, they've guns blazing since we turned this chat on, would probably admit that the offensive line probably makes you a little bit nervous. And I think in the run and the pass phase coming in this game. But, I think that's the one thing they got to get cleaned up is the protection. Because as you can see, when you play Seattle, now you don't have Devontae Adams or Cooper Kupp or, multiple tight ends that can catch the football. But you have guys that you can get explosives with. And Seattle can give them up. They gave a lot of them up last night. Can you protect long enough to take advantage of those situations? So I think the matchup coming up, and we can talk about it more, but you mentioned the blitz rate. That's one thing that Seattle and Sam Darnold has to get in the lab right now. and have
Yeah.
answers for, because the blitz is the way that if you're going to win this game, you're going to win it blitzing the quarterback.
Yeah, and going off that real quick, Chris, Darnold is pretty average against the blitz. I mean, he had a great performance last night, but 85.6 rating against blitz, which is 22nd in the league. So, like, if I'm Sam Darnold, I'm completely expecting the Patriots to continue to ride that hot hand and blitz and just get ready for that, man. Especially, like, some of the guys you got up front, Bradford, get him ready for Blitz Pro.
Yeah, and you talk about special teams again. Special teams factored in the second game. Denver now, Will Lutz has been great for them. I feel for the guy because he's kicking in the weather and everything. But the kick late in the game in the snow that gets tipped. I don't know if this is the case, but I heard that they couldn't find the yard marker, and the angle of that kick was affected by the fact that they were a yard closer than they needed to be snapping the ball to the holder. Wow. And as you guys know, that definitely affects
game
the
of
probability of the kick being blocked. So you talk about like Denver being the team that made the mistakes in this game, New England on top of it, taking care of the football, possessing the football, doing things like on 3rd and long backed up, just throwing it away or running the ball on 3rd down, knowing the situation. They do kind of, if you're like this anti-New England person, which I am not, I am certainly not. I think Drake Maye, for people that hate Drake Maye, like, what do you hate about him? Tell me what you hate about him. Like, I know the Pats were, the big bad wolves for a long time, and you thought you had a long break, and it turns out they're just back. I've never been a person, even before I signed with the Patriots, to hate the Patriots. The Patriots were always a team that I admired. In fact, I wrote an essay defending them in the Deflategate era for Players Tribune. It's fucking wild. I'm in the league and I'm defending Tom Brady. So I know that there's a lot of people that probably hate to see the Pats in this spot, but I think it's good for football. If you do hate the Pats and you do sniff glue and you think things are rigged, you probably think the weather was rigged, because it kind of felt like as soon as they went up, it was like a Buffalo Wild Wings thing where they moved that storm in and the Pats take the lead and it's basically over. So you got to get used to it. This quarterback's great. He didn't have to. And here's the mark of a good football team. Your MVP quarterback doesn't have to be spectacular in a playoff game. He doesn't have to be spectacular. He doesn't have to do it all by himself. Didn't have to do it all by himself against LA. Didn't have to do it all by himself against Houston. Made the plays he had to make. And the plays looked differently in the AFC Championship. The plays that he had to make yesterday were not stunning throws, or he didn't have to be pinpoint accurate in the passing game. What he had to do was pick up yardage with his legs when it counted, and he did. So just a great, well-coached football team, and they deserve to be there. For Denver, I feel for them. I do. I went through this with a backup quarterback, and we had a lot longer to prepare for that situation. Denver didn't have that kind of time, so it kind of happens quick. And by Wednesday, they've worked themselves up into a frenzy. There's some momentum being built in the national media behind, hey, Denver can win this game, and they could win this game. Like, honestly, I felt like through the half, you're looking at it and you're saying, if the weather stays the way it was, I feel like Denver felt like they had a good chance to win this game, and they did, even in the blizzard. So for Denver, I wouldn't hang your heads. Denver fans, I wouldn't hang your heads. You need a run game sorely, and in this situation, obviously, you need your quarterback to be healthy in the football game. But New England earned the fuck out of this thing, and here they are representing the AFC way sooner than I think a lot of people were prepared to see them in a game like this.
You talked about Jarrett Stidham having some good throws. He played really well when he wasn't blitz, when he had no pressure. With no pressure, 16 to 21, 129 yards, a touchdown. When he was pressured, 1 of 10 for 4 yards and 2 turnovers. I'm proud of the dude. Great. You pointed it out. He had a couple out routes. It was tough. He loses Pat Bryant in the game. Didn't have Troy Franklin to start the game. Cortland Sutton caught the touchdown, but then dropped a few, down the stretch. I am, as I said earlier, I am happy with the product we put out. Another shout out to Mike Vrabel. Situation right at the end of the half when Drake Maye slid for the, with 1 second on the clock, barely a damn second on the clock. I know they missed the field goal, but to be right there to call the timeout, that's heads up. And then on the interception, we subbed late. We're late getting on the field. Adam Troutman's running on. Nate Tice pointed this out, but that allowed the Patriots to sub late. So they got their big boys on the field. And the ref stood over the ball, clock's ticking. That doesn't help Jarrett Stidham. He's like, oh my God, tick, 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 tick. 1 second left, and they kind of have to hurry, and then he takes the shot. And it's a great play by Gonzo.
We do have to talk about an important play in the game, and obviously I don't count myself as a glue sniffer. I just think they got this thing wrong. I thought the sneak, he was short. And I pointed that out yesterday. The only reason I pointed out is because of the very close parallel to a play we saw in the playoffs last year, where, you're in Kansas City, Allen sneaks, everybody watching TV says he has it. There's a favorable spot. They go with the unfavorable spot. And truly, you can't see the football, so you can't overturn it. You kind of got the opposite of this deal in this scenario where I didn't think Drake had it. The spot initially on the field that I saw said, hey, he was short. They give him the favorable spot and go to replay. You could see it coming a mile away. As soon as they did that, you could not see the football. I don't know where you guys landed on that, but I thought that was a huge play in the game, obviously, because it led to the 3 points.
I'm pretty much on your side, man. It is what it is. Like it's just impossible to really tell in those conditions, but yeah, it's a big deal.
It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that they didn't get some home cooking with that call. You would think that the Broncos would get a favorable spot, maybe in that situation, right there.
Well, I don't know, but they fucked it up both ways, though. They didn't continue. Now it didn't end up hurting New England because they went in and scored, but they blew the whistle on that fumble. And for anybody saying that ball didn't go backwards, just watch it twice, man. Just watch it twice. Like if the ball went backwards. Listen, I think Stidham has a bright future in the league. If he wants an opportunity somewhere else, maybe one day he'll get it. But at the very least, he's a very serviceable backup. But the one thing he couldn't do, he did. And that ends up really hurting this football team. So listen, love a snow game, love a rock fight. That was a lot. Love a Denver cover. Holy shit, my family. I know, Reed, it's not much consolation, but you love my kids. They love the fact that Denver covered, whether they know it or not. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you see all the memes supporting what you say. That think about it, if this game was in a dome, it would have took away the elements and basically the main catalyst of this game was the weather, and imagine this game being in the dome, how different it would have been.
But you're right. But and there's no way to go. You can't simulate that. There's no point in doing it. I just think the thing you have to do is tip your cap to a cold weather football team who practices in the elements. And I know that when I played in New England, Belichick would pour fucking water on the football, and it was freezing out, and he would try to knock the ball out of people's hands, and they had all types of, we practice outside and the whole thing. Now, I don't know if Rabel's using that big shiny indoor that I wish we used more in New England because it was fucking cold sometimes. But I think when you look at what Houston did the round before, now Drake put the ball on the ground in that game. A lot of it was the rush and the weather and that sort of thing. But I thought Houston I termed it as disrespect for the football. Stroud did not respect the football. And in a game like this, Jarrett Stidham does not respect the football. The Pats do the entirety of the game. That makes all the difference. And I think another theme that's going to come up in the second game is the middle eight. We talk about this all the time. The middle eight. What does Denver do before the half and out of the half? Before the half, right? They missed the field goal. They damn near botched that situation, so you get 3 going the other way because you don't fall in bounds on third down. Rush your field goal unit out and kick the ball with no time remaining on the clock. That's fuck up number 1, right? And it didn't burn them. The thing that burned them was obviously the fumble. And then out of the half, they don't see the ball until 5:43 left to go in the third quarter. And in the second game, which we're going to talk about shortly, I do believe the game was won and lost in the middle eight. So, it's like all these truisms about taking care of the football, fundamentals. letting the other team make the mistakes. How do you play coming into the half and out of the half? These are things that in NFL football buildings, coaches say every week, and they prove to be the things that matter on the biggest stage.
The Broncos had the ball for 1:50 in that third quarter. 1 minute and 50 seconds. That was it. That drive out of the half was perfection. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball,
right.
and then that big run right by Drake Maye. The last thing, you just going back to the weather, and if Sean Payton had the weather app or not, I pulled some folks in Denver just to see, hey, what did you all think? Like, did you know it was going to snow? And I wonder if this factored in at all. But the Denveronians, they were like, oh, it's no big deal. It's like an inch or two, and I wonder if that had any effect on, like, hey, it's not going to be we've been here for a while, that Sean was thinking that he didn't take it as seriously if he did know it was coming, anything like that. But I'll share, this is what the broadcast put up. It was in the fourth quarter. They showed, this is at the beginning of the game, like first snap. Look at that nice clear field. And then boom, an hour and a half later, 3:02, and then cut to 5 minutes later. Blurry.
Fucking crazy,
3:15.
dude.
And then you had that.
Dude, and here's the thing. The last thing I'll say about the call is, and there's, people are going to be talking about, take the points. It's so easy to say in retrospect. Here's another thing that could have happened in this game. The Pats missed a fucking field goal that would have made it 13-7. And it wasn't a kick that you couldn't make, even in the weather, right? So, in that circumstance, what would you have said? 14 would have done it, 10 would not. So, I don't absolve Sean Payton of his decision making in this game, but it's not it's not the decision you make. It's how you make the decision, in my opinion. So Pats representing the AFC in the big game. Shout out to Aiden and shout out to Pats Nation.
Congrats,
Aiden. Real long, huh?
Go Pats.
Go Pats. Go.
I got something really random from this game. I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but especially in the fourth quarter, you see the guys with the snow blowers that are clearing off the field. There was one guy who just went completely rogue and was doing like a zigzag pattern. Did anyone else notice that? It was fucking killing me. It was I noticed it on every single drive, and it was fucking hysterical. I thought, like, this guy was just bored as hell. Instead of just blowing it off in a nice clean straight line, it was zigzags the whole way through.
Who was that?
The dude that was clearing the snow. It was so fucking funny, man.
Yeah,
I'll see
dude,
if I can find a photo.
That's a tough job, and it's a tough job to clear that stuff off before the kicker comes out there and everybody's like frantically, gloving that shit off. But yeah, situational football, man. Situational football. This has got to be. This is in recent memory. I can't remember as much weather in the playoffs.
Yeah,
coaches need to start reading the fucking Farmer's Almanac before it's going to be a wet winter. But we need to practice these things. We need to be ready for the weather because this year, winter weather came early.
I guarantee Sean Payton from now on, he's always going to have the weather for the game, and I want it by 30 minutes. And
alerts yeah. On. Toggle that. Hey, Sean, take your phone. Toggle those alerts on. I know Mike had the fucking alerts on.
Do you think? Okay. Do you think that there was any issue? I saw this going around. Some Broncos were talking about it, but was there any credence to Sean Payton maybe putting too much pressure on his team by saying, "I'm not worried about Stidham. I'm not worried about Stidham. He's one of the, he's one of the top. He could play for another whole bunch of other teams."
No, I don't think they had to. There wasn't too much pressure. This is a game they could have won had they played better. I mean, like, when you say a team could have won, that doesn't mean they should have won. It just means that, like, it was possible for them to win this game. Like, when you watch, a team like the Steelers lose to Houston, you can't say they could have won the game. Like, in my opinion, but in a game like this, you could say, hey, we were good enough to win this football game. And I think a lot of people picked the Broncos this week. A lot of people said, hey, the Broncos can win this game. They're not idiots. They were right. The thing they were wrong about was the outcome of the football game. And that's the thing, is it's a 3-point game. A lot of things go into a win and a loss, and it's a 10 set. To the people that said New England was going to win the game, and calling all Denver fans or bettors idiots, although they covered. I would ask you, like, did you have it 10-7? Did you have it where Drake Maye was gonna complete like 3 passes for the entire first half, and you were gonna still win the game? Football games are funny. You have to be able to adjust on the fly, and that's what New England did better than Denver.
Hey, I'm sorry. I was curious about this from a couple defensive players. Will Campbell's blocks, did you see those where he was kind of diving to cut Nick Bonito?
Yeah, those are cut blocks. Those are
fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he needs to get him down, get his hands down, right? Like, that's a lot of the point. Sometimes when a tackle goes cut protection on the edge, it's to get the hands down so you can work the quick game. And so, and I'm not speaking to any, specific instance, but, I would say a lot of times when you see a tackle cut an edge player unsuccessfully and the quarterback gets hit or sacked, sometimes it's on the QB. And sometimes it's on not getting the cut block cleanly on the edge, but a lot of times to get the hands down.
I feel like guys like to mix that in early too, just to kind of keep your, put that in the back of a rusher's mind. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that on all pass pros. It's usually like outside screens and shit like that. But it's a smart thing to do is try to slow down a good rusher early in the game.
I used to like when you got the cut block. I could play with my hands, but the truth is generally the ball is coming out, and when it doesn't, that's the problem, right? Mm-hmm. So, all right.
Well, before we get to the next game, we'll hear from BetMGM.
Let's do it. BetMGM. The playoffs are here, and BetMGM continues to have you covered. It's giving you another chance at first touchdown scorers. With BetMGM's second chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your first touchdown scorer ends up scoring second. Instead, bet on any pro football player to score the first touchdown of the game. If you're right, you cash your bet. If your player scores second, you still get your stake back in cash. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code GREENLIGHT to enjoy up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager. BetMGM, make it legendary.
Make it legendary, and the Seahawks did. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Listen, I told you I had the Seahawks winning this game, but I did not draw it up like this. I in my head pictures, it was a game where you had to run the ball with authority, which they did early in the football game, and that Sam had to take care of the football, right? But he had to probably play his B game, is what I saw. Like, through 12 quarters playing Shula, he was atrocious. I mean, even a Sam Darnold supporter like myself would say, coming into this third matchup, there is reason to put the governor on the quarterback, right? And just make sure that you don't put too much on his plate, and you lean on the run game, and you scheme up easy completions for him. But that wasn't the case in this football game, and I got to give them a lot of credit. And I think on top of just the confidence in a quarterback that I think a lot of people did not have confidence in coming into this matchup, it's the self-awareness of a defensive head coach that says, hey, in the second matchup, we didn't have, or the Rams didn't have, Devontae Adams. They are up a pass catcher, and we gave up a lot of explosives to them. I don't think that 24 points is going to do it. I don't think that 20 points is going to do it. If we want to win this game, we are going to have to throw the ball around the yard a little bit with Sam Darnold. And I think being down a corner for LA, and this isn't an excuse, there's people that are going to be, hey, you're making excuses for the Rams. I'm not. I was on the Seahawks. But it's reality. When you have a corner down, you attack. You find Waldo in this game. And in this game, it was Darius Williams early and often, right? And I thought Sam made some huge throws early in this game, like just to go to that first third down, because early in the game, I think the Rams are saying, hey, we got to stop the run. We got to stop the run. We got to stop the run. Make Darnold beat us, right? And 3rd and 5, the shot to Shaheed was a thing of beauty. I think it changed the game, right? I think they're in robber coverage, right? So the safeties, his eyes are inside. He's looking for work. He's looking for JSN. You get the man-to-man outside, and they go right at Williams, which again was the theme of the day. They come right back to him the next play. When he plays off, he misses a tackle. They're down in the red zone. And I thought drive 2 was a thing of beauty. You get the run game going. You get your heavy personnel out there. You get the Rams in their heavy base look, where I didn't think they were very good. You get some guys on the field who are not great at fitting up run scheme. And I think, they ran inside zone in a couple different ways. I think Kubiak in this football game cemented himself as a head coach. I think, as an aside, I think Buffalo, who knows what they're doing, he's got to be one of the front runners for that job. The way he schemes up the run game, what he's done for the quarterback. Not that the quarterback wasn't great the year before in spots, but what he did in New Orleans to start the season last year, what he did on this big stage, he won the battle with Chris Shula, right? And, when you have a quarterback who has turned the ball over maybe 6 times this season alone against this defensive coordinator, and you go into the third game and you carve him up like this and you're fucking nails in the red zone. I think Sam Darnold, Nolan, I had you look up his rating in the red zone. What was his rating in the red zone?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now. He had I'm going to pull up the numbers of his completions and attempts, but he had over 100 yards passing
in the red zone.
Sheesh.
Hold up. Sorry, I have it here somewhere.
No, you sent it to me. Hold on. I'm going to find it. Yeah. Okay.
All right, I got it here. So Darnold in the red zone, 9 of 12, 107 yards, 3 tuds, and a 141 passer rating.
Dude, and that was the name of the game. He made some great throws in the field, but in the red zone where the Rams faltered on third down. They had a million explosive plays, but they couldn't they couldn't stay on the field on third down. The Seahawks on the money downs and in the red zone were just better. And Sam Darnold outplayed Matt Stafford. As spectacular as Matt Stafford was, Sam Darnold, who's been the only quarterback in the playoffs to take care of the football. I know we kind of said it jokingly last week where we were like, well, he's the best quarterback on the planet. He's the only one that didn't turn it over in the fucking divisional round. That trend continued into this game here. Not being the only one that didn't turn the ball over, but this was as ambitious a game by a quarterback relative to the expectation as I've seen in the playoffs in a while. And I think he deserves a lot of credit. You want to be at the big boy table. You just played your way into it. You got one more game with a chance to cement yourself as a Super Bowl champion. And I know the defense is great, but that performance yesterday was a win because of performance. The defense gave up 27 points. That was a win because of performance. We talk about guys you can win with, guys you win in spite of, guys you can win because of. That was a win because of performance. And I think Sam Darnold deserves a lot of credit. After the game, he was asked, how does it feel to be the first guy from your draft class to make it to the Super Bowl? And he was like, hey, I already made it in San Francisco. And he laughed. But I love his attitude. I love the way his teammates have his back. Ernest Jones, guys like that. I saw a text exchange between Tank Lawrence and Des Bryant today. Des Bryant posted before the season, and Tank knew right away. You remember in August when JSN, who had 1 million yards yesterday, was like, dude, Sam throws the ball before I'm out of my break. Like the decisiveness, the quick release, all that stuff. And all you had to do was see him do it in the big spots, and he finally exercised those demons and beat the allegations yesterday. And I couldn't be happier for the guy. Seahawks are they're a really good football team. And I thought again, going back to the middle 8, that's where the game changed, because you get the ball before the half and you find a way to not just get points, you put the ball in the end zone. And there was that sequence where both teams had it a couple times. And then coming out, the Rams get them to punt, right? And, of course, Rams special teams on their second special teams coordinator of the year find a way to fucking blow the game and just change the entire flow of the game. And the Seahawks took advantage. Again, you kick a field goal there in the red zone, it's a different ball game. They don't. They go get points. And another thing I loved about Kubiak in this game was the intentionality of the motion, the intentionality of putting wide receivers in the backfield in funny looks. He just, the run game, the multitude of ways you can get to different concepts. He aced this test. The coordinator and the coach and the quarterback aced this fucking test, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Chris. To me, it's like super excited for Sam Darnold. Like, there's not a lot of times you get the chance to kind of get redemption, in the NFL. And, for him to change that narrative is great. But, dude, you kind of talked about it, man. The special teams for the Rams has been a fucking issue all year. And it's so frustrating that essentially this game, the NFC Championship, comes down to a special teams error by Xavier Smith in such a critical moment. It's like, God damn, feels a little bit like we're kind of robbed of like an all-time finish, I guess. But that's just how it goes, man. It's one play, like we all know that. And to me, that was the biggest error. Just talking about the Rams real quick. I was very impressed with Blake Corum. I feel like he was really good, like out of the backfield, especially. I was looking up, he had, especially late in the game, and then he rushed well too. So like, I just want to give him some love because I feel like he was really effective. And then like, I'm surprised you didn't hit on this. The sequence with the taunting penalty, Reek Woolen, and then I guess I look back at that today, and he was literally taunting Matt Stafford. And then I was kind of like, you're at home. The 12s, like it's loud. You're really going to throw a flag on a taunting penalty? And I looked at it again, like it was pretty egregious. The ref warned him and like kind of told him to shut the fuck up. And then he kept doing it. And he was literally taunting Stafford. And then Stafford goes right back at him. And like literally the next play, Puka touchdown. Like you can't make that shit up, man. That was just so fucking hysterical to me.
That was definitely
his
a bird. That was a bird brain play. What I didn't love was like seeing on ESPN, like the 4-box, the first box is dropped interception, then it's taunting penalty, and then he gets burnt, and then he's arguing with his teammates. Yeah. Let me fix that for you. Great play on the ball on third down that should get him off the field. Dumb penalty, and he gets beat for an explosive like 5 other guys on this team. Yeah. Now I know Woolen is a guy that's kind of in the crosshairs for them. He's not a great man corner, and also McDonald gambled, and he gambled playing a lot of man in this game, and he was wrong. I mean, but I also think that he thought coming in, I know we're going to get beat on some explosives, but on third down, they were fucking money. They were money. The Rams couldn't keep drives alive, and there was tight man coverage on the field. Listen, Spoon got beat in some situations. Wooling got beat in some situations. They came right at Job. He had a fucking drive where he was Waldo. The one guy to me that I just want to say this, Nick Emanwari, and we said it would be a big Nick Emanwari game. He is the best player on that Seattle defense.
Yeah.
He will be for a decade. He is like a fucking giant Swiss Army knife. And when you look at those 2 plays that he's man coverage outside the numbers, the first one on Puka, the second one on the back, there were plays on Devontae Adams where Devontae Adams running in breakers, and he's like stepping on his toes, dude.
He's a dog.
He is incredible. When he grabbed the ball and continued a dead play into the end zone, just ran into the end zone before the half, I think, I was like, bro, I just want to see him. I go, maybe you should put it in a package and give him the ball because he looks so fucking cool carrying the ball. He is one of the best athletes in the NFL. And I think that was one of the things when you're watching this, you say, this guy's got Hall of Fame potential. And it's like LOB all over again, dude. It's a different form, but they have the secondary. And I think Spoon's awesome. Obviously, Woolen's taking his lumps. Job has been, a pleasant surprise. But Emanwari he could have played with those guys back in the day. He is incredible. And the front, listen, again, I'm not slighting them when I say they don't have a superstar. What I'm saying is they're all good. They are all good. They all make plays. And I think the problems that they're gonna cause for New England in the Super Bowl, it's run game too.
Yeah.
These guys are glass eaters on 3 downs, dude. And I think that's what makes them so tough is they play the run. They can pressure the quarterback. They did not pressure the quarterback in this football game, which is a little bit concerning. I think the Rams have a better offensive line than New England. I think even New England fans would tell you that. I think the big question coming out of this is like, what could Sean McVay, the Seans, what could Sean McVay do differently in this game? I think there were two instances where maybe you go for two in this football game. And one time it was to draw within 3. I think it was I forget which situation it was, but there were 2 situations that I thought they probably could have gone for 2. And at the end of the game, you might have some people that say, hey, on 4th and 4 down in the red zone or whatever it was, you take the points, you cut it to a 1-score game. What are we doing? What year is this? We never take the points anymore. I wouldn't have been mad at him if he had kicked and put all the pressure on Sam Darnold, right? But the outcome of the next drive was, and this was a huge drive, just being able to flip the field for Seattle and punt it to the Rams so they had barely any time left. There were plays in that drive where Kenneth Walker catches a dump down, and he only ended up having like 50 yards rushing. They were big yards in the first half, right, to keep the pressure off the offense. And then some big receptions by him. And then just having the confidence in Sam Darnold to throw the ball on 2nd and long on that drive. And also the QB keep where Fisk is on him right away on 3rd and 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Just to take care of the football. It's another feather in his cap in this football game. Sam Darnold did all the right things. I think McDonald's one of them dudes to come out on top against McVay. And you saw that embrace at the end of the game. There's a lot of mutual respect between those two guys.
Dude, it's been fun to watch these two teams play, man. I mean, think about just like, just the matchup of the Seahawks defense, like at home with the 12s against the Rams offense, like Matt Stafford, like aging gunslinger, like so many good storylines. But I think my favorite thing is like just watching Puka Nacua and then JSN. Like we haven't really talked about JSN that much today because we're so used to fucking excellence from him, man. He had 10 receptions, 153 yards. But like he's so fucking good, man. That one-handed catch he had, that thing, he just stuck his hand out there. It's like boom. That's like one of those catches you make on the schoolyard. You're like, oh my god, all you guys see that, and he does that shit routinely. Like, dude, it's so fun to watch. Like, dude, they've been getting Shaheed going a little bit with that long reception, but Kenneth Walker is also a dog. Like, pretty excited about these Seahawks. And then one thing I thought was fun too is just Cooper Kupp. Like he had a touchdown against his former team, to beat them in the NFC Championship. Like that's got to feel pretty fucking good, man. That's good for him. It was fun to see him. He's just a vet on that team. He's a good player still.
And a big conversion on that last drive where obviously, at first I'm like, damn, did he catch the ball? But I got to be honest, as much as you want to be like, last week is sitting a catch. This week it's a catch. It's a fucking catch. You took 3 steps. Like I understand that one. I just think Seattle, man, all their wide receivers block. Their route distribution is perfect. You watch their route concepts, and you watch like Philly, like this year, and you're like, is this the same sport? Everything they do offensively has intention behind it.
Yep.
And I want you to go back, if you have access to the All-22, and watch and pay attention to the way they use motion, pay attention to the way they use their chess pieces, including Shaheed on verticals and, motioning JSN over to the same side and, red zone scissors with JSN out of the backfield. Sam Darnold made throws with pressure in his face, dude. It's the final piece of the puzzle for this team. If he can do that on the biggest stage, they're hard to stop. They are hard to beat. And listen, I'm just going to be straight up. I think they're better than New England. I do. Do I think that Drake's better than Sam? I don't know. He might be. But I think the team, Seattle, top to bottom, is – and nobody should think that's a hot take. And they're favored in the game. I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup, but I think the team, Seattle, what John Schneider has built is really fucking impressive. Yeah. The thing is, New England's ahead of schedule, and they're in this game. They're in this game because that roster, as much as I was lauding Josh Allen for dragging that roster as far as he drug it, and Drake's doing it a different way, Drake Maye is dragging a roster, and Mike Vrabel and a backup defensive coordinator dragging a roster that probably, if you started the season, even with the infusion of talent through free agency, was not a top 15 roster. And they're here. And I think that's incredibly impressive.
I agree.
And that's something too, like we didn't talk about, that I was kind of impressed and kind of shocked with the Rams, is that I feel like Seattle was doing what the Rams do to everybody, and they use Puka like a Swiss Army knife, and you put him in the backfield for unfavorable matchups on the defense. And the way that Seattle was doing that to LA yesterday, I was just like, anytime LA, you guys put Puka in motion, you kind of know 90% of the time the ball's going to him. And Seattle was just kind of running that same kind of giddy up on offense. And it's just funny to watch and be like, yo, as a defense, you would think at some point, like, you can time some of that stuff up or kind of know it's coming, because you're practicing against kind of like the same type of offense with the way they use Puka Nacua. But the way JSN yesterday just killed them, and they put him in the backfield to have those matchups on linebackers. That's the one thing for next week I'm really worried about, especially if Splain is hurt or whatever. I think that linebacking core, if they have to worry about having to man up JSN more than 2 or 3 times during that game, you kind of should be worried, because those 2 or 3 plays might end up being crucial.
No question. Great play callers, both of them offensively, Kubiak and McVay, and I loved watching that last night. It was like an explosion of offense, and the rest of the playoffs has been like, it's been hard to come by offense. And so for the Rams, like, coming out of this thing, I think it's going to be a very interesting offseason. Like, is Stafford done? Does he want to keep playing? Because he just played like a fucking MVP through much of the season. He made some throws last night that were incredible to his standard. Devontae Adams, you saw after the game, the anguish. He could barely answer questions. He's so crushed to be so close again. And for the Rams, man, they've been used to making these deep runs. So I think their defense needs some work from a personnel standpoint. You talk about like corners and getting you beat. I mean, they lost what is a Witherspoon a couple weeks ago, and it's kind of sent them into a tailspin. They lost Quentin Lake for a while, and obviously him playing in the slot, losing him during the season. I think it affected the way they played defense down the stretch, but also this vaunted pass rush, which I think is really good, right? And they run games and they play hard, and the edges are different but very effective. You got Turner and Fisk inside. I'd like to see a little bit more depth in that group, and I'd love to see the corner room get shored up. Les Snead has some work to do with that defense, because as the season went on, their front wasn't good enough to take over games. They're a very good group, but they weren't. They didn't do what they did against Darnold last year. Same group, and this is why when people killed Darnold after that Minnesota loss against the Rams after the wildfires and all that, people wanted to kill Darnold and say he's never gonna get there. He's never gonna be a starting quarterback. That defensive line took that game over. That offensive line was terrible. And I think that, in the same vein, we have to give credit to the Seahawks offensive line, which I think showed great improvement this season. Gray Zabel, big addition. I thought the tackles held up pretty well when you talk about the edges they were going up against. And I think the one thing that worries you going into a New England game is that guard spot of Bradford. Milton Williams,
especially against Milton, exactly.
Camping out in that spot, and I think that the blitz, which we touched on, which Core has dialed it up right in some really key spots. There were spots in yesterday's game where it's Jarrett Stidham, and we're just going to say, "Hey, fuck this guy, dude." You're like, when I used to play for Greg Williams, and he got mad. No, he didn't do that thing. He would just hit the blitz button. He would be like, "You guys know what's coming. Zero's coming. Like, I'm just pissed off. I want to." And there were moments in that game where Core was like, "Hey, fuck this guy. We'll find out how he handles the heat." I think he's going to do the same thing in some spots next week. So does Seattle have the creative answers for the blitz? And I think this is going to be, listen, if you're Kubiak's job interview, this is the final test because you're going to see some heat.
Yeah. Dude, kind of just changing gears here a little bit. Thinking about, I think you said this a couple weeks ago, Fax, but we got Mike and Mike in the Super Bowl, and I saw a tweet from JJ Watt that I thought was pretty funny. Something to the effect of, with this new coaching cycle, there's still like 6 or 7 jobs open, and you look at McDonald, who's been in Seattle for 2 years. He's in the Super Bowl. You got Vrabes in the Super Bowl after I think they lost 13 or 14 games last year. First season Super Bowl. Signetti is in his second season at Indiana, and they just won the national championship. Dude, expectations for coaches have never been higher. You know what I mean? Like, teams are expecting to just hire these coaches and have them come in and instantly within a year or two turn it around. That is not the norm. All right. It's pretty cool to see all these young coaches kind of take command of their team and their organizations so quickly and get them to the big leagues like that. It's pretty fun to watch, but definitely not a typical scenario at all.
Well, for Seattle, and you think about both these divisions, like, okay, you're going to succeed in the NFC West right off the bat. You got Shanahan, McVay.
Yeah.
You gonna Josh Allen's in the AFC East, dude. Like they've owned it for 6 straight years or whatever it is. No, it doesn't matter. And I think the infusion, the willingness to go for it, right? Like having the willingness to go for it for New England and spend the money and recognize that, like, hey, this quarterback last year got lost in the shuffle, as we were talking about Jaden Daniels, and he got lost in the shuffle this year at times when we were talking about Caleb Williams, even though he was an MVP candidate, but this is cashing in on the rookie window deal, and to know what you have and to cash in and bring the right people in, the right culture. Same thing with McDonald. He's not cashing in on a rookie deal, but to make the decision. And there was a lot, like the Geno decision, right? Like that Sam Darnold decision, there's only one winner and there are multiple losers. The losers are Minnesota,
Big
and
time.
Geno, right? Where you talk about like guys that did not enjoy that game yesterday, Kevin O'Connell and Geno Smith. And for the Seahawks to say, hey, we're going to do this thing and he's going to be our guy. I mean, fuck, talk about nailing it. Firsthand at the table, dude. Unbelievable. So,
yesterday,
again, go ahead. Say, go ahead.
No, sorry. Yesterday, beatinthebookie.com on Twitter said, imagine telling Sam Darnold just 5 months ago after a 14-win season and 37 touchdown passes, nah, dude, we don't need you. We're going to go with J.J. McCarthy. We're all set.
Nuts.
Going with 9.
It's a tough deal. And honestly, it sucks because McCarthy got hurt in preseason. And I don't know how that plays out if he doesn't, right? Like if you see him more, if that competition is more of a competition, like maybe you know what you have or what you don't have with the young quarterback. And listen, they finished the season strong, right? He turned in a couple of his better performances late in the year, but there's still injury concerns. And it's pretty clear to me who the better quarterback is right now. Yeah. Not to say that J.J. McCarthy can't improve, but to me, it's Sam. And as a guy that got drafted on a really shitty team right here, played a lot of years on a bad team, and I know the toll it can take on you and the way it can affect the way you think about yourself as a player, Sam Darnold, everybody should be happy for him, unless you're like a Jets fan. But even if you're a Jets fan, you should probably be happy for him, dude. And
unless you're
with a chance to play the New England Patriots, the team that had him fucking seeing ghosts. We'll see.
Did you see his quote? Did you see his quote after the game yesterday? They asked him about that, the seeing ghosts comment, and he said, I almost forgot about that. So thanks.
Yeah. And he probably has, because he's died 3 times since then. Like he is just, and he's been on what, 5-6 teams, quiet as kept. And it just goes to show you that the surroundings are so important in the way we think about these players and these quarterbacks. And so good for him. The other thing that was funny in this game was, did you hear this? Tom Brady was like, yeah, it's loud here. The reason they call them the 12s is because on a scale of 1 to 10, they're like a 12 in volume. I was like, Tom, that's not what they – nope.
Nope.
Nope. It's that there's 11 on the field, and they're counting these people as one. And so they would be the 12s. I thought that was fucking hilarious, dude. But, yeah. I don't know what else to say about this game. It sucks we only have 2 games, guys.
Early lean on Super Bowl?
I like the Hawks. I'll say it. I'll start it off. I like the Hawks, man. I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, Chris. To me, they're the most complete team. It really boils down to how Darnold plays. He played his best game, yesterday. He continues to play like that. It's hard to see. It's hard to see them losing. They're just so talented.
Nate, I know you probably like the Pats, don't you?
I do like the Pats, but I'm not gonna lie. I really like the way the Seahawks just played, and like I was saying, if Spillane isn't playing or isn't maybe 80-85%, I think they're gonna have a hard time with matchups against the Seahawks. So that's been my biggest thing with New England, just is their linebacking core. Because I feel like they do well stopping the run, but when it's getting into passing the ball and some of those linebackers have to lock up, it's been shaky for some of the years. So I know I had the Pats going, and originally I said I had Green Bay winning, but I can see Seattle winning this game by let's say 4 points.
Yeah. Well, I actually do like the Hawks, man. And again, I know so much of sports media has devolved into if you don't pick my team, you hate my team. And I've picked against the Pats this weekend. It was more about the spread, but I have picked against the Pats the entire playoffs. And that's not to say I don't like the team.
Chris, we all know you're a bandwagon Seahawks fan, man. It's all right.
Bandwagon.
You can admit it now.
I tend to follow my professional instincts, which is if I say the Hawks are going to be good, I'm going to be anchored in that take. And if they're in the Super Bowl, I kind of feel the way I felt about them all season, which is they're kind of a buzzsaw if the quarterback plays well. And so I do think the Pats are going to win this football game. But can the Pats make it interesting? Can the Pats win this game? Of course. This is the dumbest thing in sports.
You mean the Hawks?
Huh?
You say you mean you think the Hawks are going to win this game?
Hawks are going to win this game.
Yeah, you said Pats. But,
oh, did I? I'm sorry.
No,
I didn't mean to say that. I think the Hawks are going to win this football game. It's just it's a question of, to me, can Sam handle the blitz? Yeah. If they have an answer for the blitz, I think they can win this game. And the other thing is, I talked about the front. I think Pats fans would tell you this offensive line has underperformed a little bit in the playoffs. And I think that the thing that's so impressive about the Seahawks is they're all the way up and down the line, all studs in the run game. They have to rush the passer better. You think about the matchups outside, okay? You got Christian Gonzalez. It'll be interesting to see how you employ him. But you also have to worry about, if you are, the Patriots, you have to worry about Barner. You got to worry about Kupp. You have to worry about Shaheed. You have to worry about Walker out of the backfield. Drake Maye is not, and this isn't making excuses for Drake Maye, but he's not working with the same set of tools that Darnold is right now. And again, I alluded to that with the roster. He just, and the, on the other side of it, they probably have more cover guys. Seattle does. They do. They don't have a Christian Gonzalez, but they're deeper on the back end. And so I do think Seattle in this spot, but it's going to be a great game. I think it's a one possession football game. I saw the line came out 3 points.
Patriots plus 4.5 and total is 46.
Okay. So I thought yesterday it moved down to 3.5. Has been the line gets moved a little bit early in the week. So I don't know which way that's going to go. I would assume that a lot of people think that's too many points, and the Pats contingency bets it down. I would wait until it got to 3 and probably hit it. At this point, 4.5, it's probably a no bet. There's nothing to tease it with. Not that you would want to do that anyways. You want to adhere to the Wong method. You guys know about the Wong method. But I do think it's a Seahawks spot. So,
got a question for Chris and Bo. Haven't played in the big game. One thing I'm thinking about is the game planning from especially both the defensive coordinators in this game and how you had that 2-week advantage or 2 weeks worth of time to go through all the tape. Zach Core with Sam Darnold, he could conceivably watch every game Darnold's played the last 2 years. From this point forward, like take us through these kind of 2 weeks where it's like, at what point are you back in the building? And what day is the game plan typically installed? Like, I'm just curious how much time extra time coaches spend working on the game plan for this game.
I remember starting on Wednesday. Don't you remember starting early in the week? Early in the first week.
I feel like we were doing good on good, like immediately. You know what I mean? It was like, no rest, boys. Like, we're fucking in it. It's Wednesday. We're doing run pap, like good on good. But I think it was more general. Like, I feel like I do know that we did a little bit more kind of recovery stuff, if that makes sense. Like an emphasis on that first week of kind of, trying to put your body back together after a very long, football season. But we were practicing kind of almost immediately, and then it kind of, I mean, you got to correct me if you remember differently, Chris. But then I feel like our game plan kind of slowly crystallized and then popped into place very, very early, like at the end of that first kind of prep week, like Thursday, Friday, maybe. That's kind of how
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
That shit's such a blur, man.
Seriously.
And the saving grace is the players that are banged up, they got 2 weeks to recover. So you talk about the recovery, but everybody, just a sense of like calm comes over the building in a weird way where, it's just about the next game. And, things get very like focused and, the frantic feeling of being in the playoffs kind of subsides a little bit and you have a ton of time. So you talk about like who the coordinators are in this game, Core, who has done a great job. He's going to have a long time to cook up this game plan. Same thing with Mike McDonald. And obviously you think about like Josh McDaniels, who's been there. You talk about experience. This is the one thing that concerns me if you're the Pats. You've got a guy who's been in a bunch of these spots, calling the plays for the offense and everything that comes with it, knowing situationally what plays in a Super Bowl week, how to prepare your team. What are the things that Bill used to do, right? Because I know we're in a post-Bill era in New England and you're kind of like hoping to move on from that and give this group credit. But like Bill had been there a lot and Josh was there for a lot of it. So, having that voice in the building, because preparing for a Super Bowl is more than just a scheme. It's how do you travel? It's how do you conduct your practices? Where do you conduct your practices? That sort of thing. Like, and how much good on good work do you do during the week? How hard do you push the guys in practice? There's a lot of different ways to do this thing, and I think having Josh in the building really helps for New England.
Well, yeah, I mean, and to that point, Chris, like Vrabes played under Belichick. Like, dude, Bill, his kind of presence still permeates throughout that entire organization, and I feel like, the way they go about their business, I don't think it's going to be a ton different than from when Belichick was there. I mean, I guess we'll find out.
The one thing that was funny was, the one thing that was funny was hearing RKK at the end of the at the Vrabel speech where he was like, "I got one thing to say," and he was like, "I want to shout out this team for doing something that nobody else has ever done, which is winning 9 games on the road, and that includes any Bill team." And I think that's so impressive. I know he didn't mean it as a shot. I know that RKK probably wants nothing more than for Bill to sit there staring longingly at the TV and being like, "Fuck, man." But it is something that for all the great Patriot teams that have played in that building and gotten on a plane every week, and you talk about like winning on the road is such a big boy skill in the NFL. They won 9 games on the road. And it's so impressive. Here's the one thing that, and I saw this circulating a little bit. And so, Drake Maye versus teams over 500, 5 games played, 228 yards per game, 8 total touchdowns, 8 turnovers, 89 passer rating. So you're gonna. I'm sorry, this is the way things go. Like, we can all love the guy, which we do, but you're gonna have to prove it, right? Or otherwise, people are gonna lean Seattle. because of the performance in some of those games. I do think Seattle's the better team. So we'll see. Okay. What do we got now, fellas?
We got the Zone landline, and we're going to hear a word from Zone.
The Zone landline. Let's hear a word from Zone. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Underage sale prohibited.
I love nicotine, Chris.
Can't do that during the ad read. You've probably heard me say this before, but I've been cutting back on my daily nicotine intake as of late. So for me, the quality of the pouch is what I prioritize, which is why I'll pop a Zone Wintergreen. 1.6 milligram is all I need, whether I'm kicking back and watching ball on a Sunday, floating on the river with Cowboy and the rest of the crew, are breaking down film ahead of a show. With its smooth feel and variety of flavors, Zone is always on our game day roster. Whether you like a fresh mint flavor or you're into a citrus flavor, check out their roster of options and use promo code GL20 on nicokick.com for 20% off at checkout.
And we've got some
big news. We got some big news around the Zone new flavor. I'll be in a secret location during Super Bowl week with the Zone crew. So stay tuned. We got some cool things coming with some new flavors for Zone.
And just so you guys know, Zone is going to bring you some big news. Nate's just talking about it. They might have a new nicotine pouch that they're going to add to their brand new roster. Brand new flavor. Get ready Nate will have more info for you next week. So stay tuned with Zone.
Look for Nate and his adventures.
And
coming up.
Now we've got the locals landline. First call.
Landline. Let's do it.
Do you guys think New England their defense is going to be able to deal with the onslaught that Seattle's offense has? I mean, New England's offense is on the weaker side, so I don't foresee Seattle struggling with them at all. I mean, they were able to hold their own against the Rams, but I'm just curious on what you guys think about that.
So I don't want to sell the Pats short like they can't move the ball. I think they can hit some in cuts. I think they can go quick game on these guys. I think Drake Thomas was he left the game in the fourth quarter. That's something to keep your eye on, right? So I mean, I'm not saying they can't move the ball. The question is on the other side of the ball. Yeah, it's can the Pats defense hang? I think it's the blitz. Again, we keep coming back to it. Dude, all you need in a game like this is a well-timed turnover, right? And if we've watched the playoffs so far, turnovers are everything. So, it's some of these pressures that all of a sudden, for instance, like the Rams, we always bring up the sim pressures where you might have an example would be Turner dropping out in the red zone and Sam throwing him the fucking ball right there. Like that's the Sam Darnold that the haters know and love. Will you see that guy? I think a lot of it depends on how surgical you are in your blitz plan. But you got to be surgical because if they get you blocked up, they have the guys outside to chunk off explosives, and they got the quarterback who's got the arm to make the throws like your quarterback, and Drake can make all those throws. So I think that's going to be an interesting one. The plan against the blitz. I know we keep bringing it up, but if that's what you're asking, I think that's the key.
And then we've got an Eagles.
They're going to move the ball a little bit. I feel good about it.
Got to get on the edge.
Then we've got an Eagles caller for our second landline.
What's up, Green Life? This is a caller that called about 6 times wild card weekend. I apologize, Cowboy. I was quite drunk. I'm going back now because I've sobered up in the last couple weeks and been able to think through my feelings. And I kind of want to be talked off a ledge because I'm starting to panic with this offensive coordinator search for the Birds. It's starting to feel like next season's going to be a Nick Sirianni hate watch. Why can't we get any coordinators? I mean, I feel like Will Smith, why don't nobody tell me, man? Like, why are all these coordinators just quitting and leaving before we can even hire them? Declan Doyle was dropped out this morning. Charlie Walsh is staying at LSU. McDaniel, Dable, Slowick. This Nick Sirianni sticking his nose in the fucking offense again and trying to make it his way. I don't understand why this is such an unattractive job all of a sudden. So I don't know. It feels like it's a panic time. Maybe it's not. I don't know how the coaching process goes, but hope y'all are staying safe in this winter storm and are taking care of yourselves.
I can take this a little bit, Chris, if you want. It's definitely an interesting question. I mean, can totally understand the frustration and confusion from Eagles fans on this. I'm just going to keep it a buck. I feel like, when you I remember seeing some media buzz around this. I think it was Ross Tucker said something along the lines of like, why would you want to take your family, uproot them and move them to a place where as a coach, you're going to be highly scrutinized. Your house might get egged like Petulo's did, all that stuff. I think that's fair. But to me, I think it's more about seeing some of the limitations that Jalen has. I think some coordinators feel as if, they're coming into a building where the starting quarterback has a ton of power and influence, which is rightfully earned, in my opinion. Jalen has played incredibly well in 2 Super Bowls. But the fact of the matter is, he is limited in some of the stuff that he can do. He's very limited in stuff that he likes to do. And I think his influence was definitely a huge part of, the play calling that the Eagles had throughout the course of the season. So, if you look at it like that, as a coordinator, why would you want to go to a place where you might not be able to run the offense, exactly how you want to because of the quarterback? I know that the Eagles have said that some of these offensive coordinator hires they're looking at, they're going to give them total control of the offense, but the quarterback is incredibly influential. And then I think another part of it too is just the nature of the coach, the coach hiring cycle. There has been a fuck ton of open positions here. You kind of need to see how it all shakes out. Obviously there's still a little bit of football left to be played, but there's a lot of teams that are looking for head coaches. There's a lot of teams that are looking for offensive coordinators, and it's a highly competitive atmosphere. So that factors into it as well. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, without being in the building, I don't know. It does seem like something is being uncovered in these meetings, right?
Yeah.
And I think eventually we'll know what that is. I think eventually these things get out. It certainly could be Nick. It could be, hey, he won't loosen his grip on the offense. But had that been the case, I would have thought like he'd face more of a headwind from the people in the building, like Howie and the owner, right? Like if your head coach is costing you opportunities at landing the right offensive coordinator, well, then he's got to get the fuck out of the way. So I'm not really sure about that one. As the quarterback, Jalen again has his preferences. I don't know how much of this is, well, I don't want to do a certain amount of things that you want to do. It's just irresponsible for me to sit here and say for sure that I know any of that. So long answer is we're not in the building, but it definitely is starting to look a little funky. And it's becoming like almost like an inside joke in Philly sports media and on Philly Twitter and Philly, at the water cooler, where it's like, dude, what the fuck is going on here? It's like a revolving door. It's like the Simpsons meme where the coordinators walk in the door, they put their coat on the rack, they turn right around, they grab their coat and they walk out. That little gif at the bar. That's what it's starting to appear like for me. And it is troublesome because the longer you wait, the thinner the field gets, man. And I also think it is perfectly okay to consider the prospect that you don't think the group's going to be that talented next year. Like, not like in years past. And I think that might be the case. And that's okay. They got to draft their asses off. And we could be living in a post-A.J. Brown world. We could be living in a post-Lane Johnson world. We could be living in a world where Cam Jurgens is more like the guy he was this year, and Dickerson's not as healthy as you think he is. I don't know, man. I don't know, but it doesn't look good.
And we've got some BetMGM moments coming the folks' way. But first, our final ad read with BetMGM.
Oh yeah. Let me get you there. Let me get you there, cowboy. All playoffs long, BetMGM players will be receiving Pro Football Odds boost tokens to use on the games. Here's how you can get into the action. Log into your BetMGM account on game day to receive your token. Add a Pro Football playoff wager to your bet slip and activate the token. If your boosted bet hits, You'll score extra winnings and unrestricted bonus dollars. And if you haven't joined the BetMGM family yet, use bonus code Greenlight, and you'll enjoy up to a $1,500 new player offer on your first wager. BetMGM, make it legendary.
Boom. And we are going to rock with best flight off the rip.
Best flight. I mean, it's the Pats off their 9th road win. They've gotten so good at taking these flights home. It's hard for me to not go chalk here. I'm sorry to take the chalk, guys, but it is what it is. I'm trying to win this motherfucker. This is this is second to last mentions of the year.
I got a counterpoint for you, Chris. My best flight is going to be a JetBlue flight from Boston down to Denver because JetBlue partnered with legendary baker and Michael May and gave out her cookies on this flight. So imagine you're stoked. You're going to go watch your team in the AFC Championship, riding that JetBlue plane down to Denver, and you walk on board and you get a bag of cookies from Ann Michael May herself. Pretty good flight right there.
It's a good flight.
Great flight.
Oh, Nate, hit that button.
Yeah, hit that button, Nate.
Here we go. Best flight. I'm giving it to Malcolm Butler flying from wherever he's at to San Fran to rack up on all the appearance money he is about to make these next upcoming weeks leading up into this Super Bowl. Just because what happened in this last Super Bowl between them and the biggest thing with Pete Carroll, should you have run it? Should you have thrown the ball? I just feel like we're going to see Malcolm Butler's face all over leading up into this game, and I'm happy for him. Best flight.
All right, Nolan, your best flight.
I'm going with Bo, the Ann Michael May flight. That's awesome.
It's a sweep. Tanner's on that as well, and so am I. Good rip,
Yeah. Good
Although
work,
I
Ann
will
Michael May.
I will say shout out to Mike Vrabel for giving the team no curfew last night. He said the only curfew is you have to be on the bus at 8 a.m. this morning. The flight leaves at 8.
That's
If
bad.
So they stayed in Denver.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's a good segue into my worst flight.
Sounds like a best flight, dude.
I think
No,
that's actually the worst flight.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Xavier Smith from the Rams, dude. You're sitting in the fucking plane. You make sure you're on last. Well, it depends on where you sit. If you sit in the back, you got to get in there first. If you're in the front, you get on last. You try to pass as few people as possible. You make no eye contact with Devontae Adams. You make no eye contact with Sean McVay. Honestly, you probably just disappear into the Seattle nightlife, dude, and just don't, like you pull who is the offensive lineman for the Raiders that disappeared before the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Barrett Robbins or something like that. You pull one of those and you just disappear because that's a flight I don't want to take, dude.
Yeah, that's a bad flight. You know what? I'm actually going to pivot a little bit. I got a worse flight, and I'm going to say everybody in the United States of America flying, in the East Coast over the last day and a half, I guess. I was curious. I just took a look at some of these flight trackers online. These flights are fucked, all right? They are completely backed up. People are stranded everywhere because of this winter storm. A lot of tough flights going on. That's my worst flight. Anyone flying the last 24 hours with this storm.
Yeah, you guys can have this. I mean, I was going to say worst flight, Rams, obviously.
It's good. You play that one though, because that's a lot of bad people. That's a lot of bad flights.
Yeah,
everybody on the plane.
Because the only thing is how far is it? That's not that bad of a flight though, is it? What, probably a couple
it's
hours.
Not that bad. It's not that bad of a flight.
Yeah. So
no.
Yeah. Oh well.
Straight shot. Tanner says
to hell.
Tanner says the storm flights. I am going with Xavier Smith. And Nolan, your vote?
Xavier Smith as well.
Hey, if you're in that situation, not saying that any of you guys have been, but if you're Xavier Smith, can you still sit with like the same dudes you usually sit with, or is it like, I just posting up against the window?
You got to sit with the dudes you usually sit with.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to find some comfort from your buddies.
Well, I know, but like, what if you sit like across the aisle from Stafford by accident? Like,
that's when you know who your buddies are or not. Because like there'll be guys on that team. If we sat next to each other, if I was upset enough, I would be like, "Hey, I can't sit there right now." Like I can't sit there for this flight.
Bad teammate. I'm doing this. Dude, lift your teammates up, man. Come on. Support your boy in his fucking darkest days, his darkest hour.
It is a dark day, dude. It's a dark day.
Bevel Conway.
Today is a dark day, dude, for that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all right, so he's making $877 a year. Do you in the chat, and this isn't a tone deaf question because I know many of you would just say, yeah, I'll take it. Like, would you take 1 year of Xavier Smith's salary to be Xavier Smith the rest of his life?
Fuck yeah. People gonna
I would
this
not.
shit.
You're gonna blow that in a
good.
year.
Way.
I'm just telling you, you're gonna blow that in a year.
Not a
You're
chance.
gonna be Xavier Smith. Which
you
is,
think people you think people are gonna like how long are they gonna really care about this? Like if you're not
A long time.
like
Dude,
just but only if you're a Rams fan, right? Though like
No, because
no,
every
but I'm talking about being Xavier Smith and all this stuff that comes with like your football life. The reason people remember you is because of this. And you're 28 years old. You've been doing this your whole fucking life. And now the rest of your life, you're going to wake up. I don't want to say it's every day, but like many of the days you're going to think about that play. Maybe I overestimate how hard guys are on themselves, but like I said this last year with Mark Andrews when he dropped that football. I was like, bro, no amount of money would make me want to be Mark Andrews. And he was a fantastic player, but like the mental toll that takes to be the guy.
But like even with that, it's just like I wouldn't want to be Mark Andrews in Baltimore. Anywhere else, I feel like it's like I don't know. I just feel like a lot of times football fans, like unless you're a fan of that team in that city, like if that player is kind of walking around nonchalant in a different city, I don't think it's that many diehard fans.
Again, though, I don't think it's about the fans being like, hey, that's fucking Xavier Smith. He could walk down Rodeo Drive, and most people are going to be like, who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah.
They're not going to know at all.
Yeah, Chris is talking about the daily personal anguish and the memories, the nightmares you have about one fucking play and the defining factor that has on the rest of your life. Yeah, that's tough, dude.
Just mundane plays in my career, and even in a winning Super Bowl run, I still beat myself.
Those are the ones that stick out the most, man. Like
I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
All right. So, anyways,
and also, if you're Xavier Smith, you're sitting there watching, the Rams playoff run here in 3 years or 5 years, and they're in the NFC Conference Championship, and it's they've got to overcome, this punt from X amount of years ago.
Oh yeah, good luck being the next guy fielding a punt in the playoffs. That you're thinking about the last guy.
Which, by the way, that play made me think about how I'm curious what you guys think about this. I think catching a punt is underratedly one of the most difficult things to do in professional sports,
hands down,
across all sports,
down.
Especially in a night game. That ball disappears.
It's funny. They do an event at UVA games, catch a punt for like groceries for a month or like $500 or whatever, or it might be something more than that, but just a regular person pulling someone out of the stands and being like, catch a punt out of a jugs machine, that shit is really hard. It's very, very hard.
Did you guys ever do that, like big man has to have to catch a punt? Were you guys ever part of that in practice?
Oh yeah,
of course, yeah. And it's hard. Like I definitely can do it, but it's something where it's just like,
I get $1 million. Brandon Bostic. Somebody in the chat said, "Can you name the guy that botched the kick against Seattle for Green Bay?" It's Brandon Bostic. We've talked about him on the show before.
Who offered $1 million?
That guy thought about it every time there's a football game on, and you get to enjoy the football game. Brandon Bostic is thinking about that game.
No, I think it's because I think you think this way because like you and like certain people in the world have this Rolodex of plays and players and sports things y'all can think about. But I think the average fan, it's like you'll remember certain plays, but like
pray for Brandon Bostic, yes.
Like someone will have to remind you of a play for you to like remember it, and then you'll be like, "Oh yeah, we do hate that guy."
Again, though, it's not about the people on the outside. It's the anguish of living in your own head.
Okay,
that's all. Nobody's ever like, hey, Chris, you should have gotten the ball off Brady by the goal line. Why'd you go for the sack? Or like if your arms were longer, maybe you just strip, but I'm sitting here in my head, like nobody knows. Or like a play that I was out of my gap against like Houston in the wild card round against New England. Like those things really bother me, dude.
You're like that meme of the guy in the corner of the party, and it's like no one knows. I still think about this sack I missed.
I do too. I do. I remember the feeling of being on the ground after a missed sack, like in the regular season, dude.
The worst fucking feeling.
Dude, I missed a sack against fucking Washington in 2017 to open the season. That was like Kirk Cousins dead to rights. I go for the football and I'm on his back. It's like actually kind of a hard sack.
I actually know exactly what play you're talking about.
And I end up on his back and go for the ball and he just shrugs me off. And I'm like I'm beside myself. I'm still thinking about it. I woke up this morning and thought I'm just joking. I didn't think about it this morning. But anyways, you were on the train ride with me on the way home.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to die. All right.
I missed one against Cousins on a fucking TE where, same thing. Where like I won really early and I stacked my O-lineman and then I had a lot of space in the pocket, you know what I mean? And he hit me with the skirt and I fucking bounced right off. I fell right off his back. I think about it all.
Yeah, you feel stupid. Anyways.
Really stupid.
I'm just glad to get that win. Okay, Bevel Conway. Is that what we got?
I got one.
Bevel Conway.
I'll go with the snow on Evan Washburn's hair. Evan Washburn came out of a commercial and they went to him on the sideline and his hair was perfect, but it was like frosted. It was boy band frosted. And credit to somebody in the broadcast for calling him like an NSYNC guy or whatever it was. But I thought that was fucking hilarious, dude. His hair looked like the Miz, the wrestler.
The Miz, man, so great.
He looked pretty good. And then he did the little hair shake.
Yeah,
like kind of tussled out of there. Yeah, that was a good moment for him, man.
JJ Watt called him the so that's him. There's Evan Washburn looking pretty hot and frigid.
Well, I didn't say all that, but what I said is
Silver
I said that it was sick, dude. Like it was awesome, dude. Like the fact that the game was so fucked up that the people on the sideline, shout out to my brother too, who was on the big desk yesterday, looking massive. Fucking those guys were dealing with the elements too. When Evan Washburn's dealing with the elements, that means it's football weather.
And he shook it off. He's like, Bo Nate.
I got
my Bevel. I got Broncos Patriots fourth quarter. The snow, just the craziness, everything, the wind blowing. I just feel like that's playoff football, gritty game. That was my Bevel.
That was a good view. All right, I got one, guys. Mine is Fernando Mendoza's LinkedIn page. I fucking pulled it up the other day.
Okay.
This guy is such a fucking gem, dude. He did like he immediately imagine winning the fucking Heisman and then winning the national championship, and the first thing you do is update your LinkedIn page. That is just a hysterical concept to me. And I pulled it up, and he fucking is like, "Here's how winning the national championship can help your B2B sales." That shit was so fucking funny, man. He had a pretty well rounded out LinkedIn page. I just think, in this world that we live in, where there's a lot of athletes that aren't great character role models for our youths out there, to have this fucking guy who just seems so pure and it's just pure ball and LinkedIn. Like, I just think there's something hysterical about that. So this is a great view for me.
But what if he's a serial killer?
He might be, dude.
I liked his when he said, "Here's what winning a national championship taught me about B2B sales." Kidding. Kinda.
Yeah, exactly.
Kinda.
Good.
Look at that hat. I think it's still available on Greenlight.
It is. Go scoop it.
Google me. That's the Signetti call line there, and you get the cigarette on the side. We actually, as you see, Nate just smelled the hat. We actually
smells like cigarettes.
Smell like cigarettes.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it kind of smells like Marlboro.
Sheep
What if we just
taste
had?
like
What if we had
the
just
red.
Hayden in the merch tent, like ripping butts? Like,
What do you mean, bro? That cig smell is coming directly from the sweatshops.
yeah, we don't sell sweatshop stuff.
Yeah,
just-
chill out.
This is actually
Guys,
made
in America, guys. I'm just
made right here.
Yeah.
Nolan, your bevel?
I think Washburn's hair is a great call, but Mendoza's
That's
LinkedIn
too
profile is like one of the funniest bits going right now. It's unbelievable. That's my vote.
Tanner went Evan Washburn hair, and that's where I'm going as well. That was so sick.
Washburn, dude. Shout out. But I do love that Mendoza that was the LinkedIn thing was like, oh my God, of course.
Dude, I saw something with him
LinkedIn.
we were talking about a Bella Danger earlier. I'm not quite sure who that is, and neither is Mendoza. I don't know if this was a meme, but I guess he I gotta look this up and verify, but if it was a meme, it was funny where he's like, yeah, I have no idea who that person is, but she seems like a very loyal fan. Fucking great, dude.
I just took my glasses off. I don't know how the fuck you guys do this.
Crazy, right?
I think I just got depression
And the lights, right?
and anxiety, dude. Yeah.
Speaking of
Dude,
depression,
by the way, I ordered some Sean McDermott's, some clear frame without this fucking color here. I'm going forward. I'm rocking them. You know the
Hell
clear
yeah.
frames. Yeah. So shout out.
They
to
look clean.
McDermott. Yeah. Okay. What do you got now?
anti-bevel.
Anti-bevel Conway. The alert I got this morning and the day before, and it feels like I'm going to get all week, that school is canceled at my kid's school. Anytime you get a snowstorm when you're a kid, you get excited. And when you're an adult, you get excited for a minute or two. And then you're excited for a day. And then you're like, fuck, dude.
Mm-mm.
We are literally it's like Lord of the Flies in here in my house, dude. It's crazy.
You know what's crazy? We've missed so many days at my daughter's school this year that like me and my girl, we're hoping that they miss one or two more because then they'll have to put days on the back end
Right.
to make up. But it's just like we're paying for school. So it's like you don't get that money back for missed days. So it's just like, yeah, put those days back at the end.
Yep.
If we have to pay for this, yes, I want those days when they can be available.
July. I want my kid in school in July if I've got to take my kid to school in July.
A free summer day in July, I would love that. No better feeling.
Yeah.
We've got some more snow this weekend, fellas, so it might come true next week. More canceled school. You get more days off.
I heard.
No, don't think about that. That next week is a travel week for us. So
Yeah, I know.
that's not sounding good.
Bo, Nate, anti-bevel?
I got one. My anti-bevel Conway. Okay, listen. I play with Matt Collins. I fucking love him. He's a great dude. We used to play Rocket League on Switch when we were traveling in the airplane. It was fucking awesome. I love his whole no shoes thing. But there was something about when he came into the stadium yesterday, his entryway with the Warriors clinking the bottles. Didn't like it. I did not like that. And I get it. Like, someone was saying that Vrabel showed him the Warriors, and then he was calling out like, Warriors, come out to play. Like, did not do it for me. It felt a little too performative, Dr. Facts, if you know what I mean. That's my anti-bevel.
People are too old. People are too young. People are too young to know what that is.
Yeah, that's
I
what
know
Too
that
young
reference.
to know what it was.
I know that reference. I love that movie. It's a great fucking movie. It's a cult classic. I get it. But it's like, it just didn't do it for me, Max.
Well,
Sorry
and
about
did he not finish
Dress
the
up
movie?
like Mel Gibson, bro.
yeah, the Warriors did
A Patriot. Don't. It's like not even like.
yeah.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
talking about the Patriot movie. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, with the muskets.
Yeah.
Nate?
Warriors. My
Plowing my driveway. I hear it right now. Might be able to get out.
anti-bevel, right?
Yep.
All right, my anti-bevel is going to Reed's man Stidham attempting a second push pass after already fumbling. I just feel like that looked nasty and yeah, just bad football.
That was like nobody asked for that. We were just sitting around, and then he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna try this again." It worked decently the first time. Nolan, your pick?
I'm going with Nate. The Stid play. Tough sight.
Did City. And canceled school is Tanner's. I'm going with that Stidham second pass. I couldn't.
If you want Tanner's vote, you got to do real life stuff. Tanner likes the real life stuff that afflicts us all.
Real vibes.
All right.
Best seat.
Best seat. I'm going to go Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft, like when Bill leaves and you're 80-something years old, you really do have to wonder, like, am I going to see the playoffs again? Dude, that's not me being like, mean, fucked up, like you're an older gentleman. And the clock restarted, and because of getting the hire right, and I got to say, everybody was mad at him, including myself, when he fired Gerard Mayo. I still think Gerard Mayo, they hired him knowing they'd fire him in a year, which is fucked up. Totally fucked up. But he knew the guy he wanted to bring in all along. He brought him in, and he got the quarterback. And now he's getting ready to watch his team play in another Super Bowl. Like, best seat, RKK is probably up there with Bon Jovi. I mean, I guarantee Bon Jovi was at the game. And Cardi B, like,
that's my best seat. I was just gonna say, because it's an extension to yours. Best seat has to be Cardi B. She's been in the owner's box, sitting next to Robert Kraft for all of these games, watching her baby daddy.
Yeah,
just win game after game, and low key. I don't know why or who was interviewing Cardi B after the game, but the interview that Cardi B put out yesterday after the game, I felt like was absolute masterpiece. Like when you're on teams and you get media training, I feel like she aced the media training spot with that interview, and I'm excited to see how she acts cheering for Stephon Diggs and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I think we'll get a lot of shots of Cardi B probably in the box with Robert Kraft or around it. And I think it's funny that Robert Kraft kind of enjoys that attention also, which is cool. So it's going to be, I think that's definitely the best seat.
He enjoys it for sure, not in a terrible way or like
no,
a bad
not at
way.
all.
He's the life of the party.
Why
It's
wouldn't
funny
you?
when you guys won the Super Bowl before Cardi B and Stephon was even together, when she performed at one of those parties, those secret parties they have for the winning team at the Super Bowl, her and Robert Kraft are dancing together on stage, like way back then. So I'm just like, it's funny, just full circle how things come around now.
I think that might have been after our Super Bowl.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you're probably there.
I wasn't, because I left. They had the team party and they sold tickets to fans, which is not the worst thing in the world. But like it was like a big, like, everybody was in there. You couldn't even be with your people. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go. I went to a hotel bar with Macon was there.
Nice.
And we met up with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. Macon took a leak next to Troy Aikman. It's like his proudest moment. That's what he said.
Jesus Christ.
I know. Yeah.
Guys.
My best seat. What do I got? Oh, my best seat, dude. This is fucking dumb.
He also took a leak next to Magic Johnson once, dude. He's got like Macon. He keeps track of shit like this. Go ahead.
Best seat. My best seat. Oh,
The
did you
one
guys
I'm
watch
doing in
this?
about 5 minutes. I'm so hydrated.
Alex Hanel, dude, on top of the Taipei 101 tower. He climbed up that thing with no safety gear. It was fucking sick. I watched, it was pretty enthralling because, like, it's one of those things you turn on and you obviously don't want anything catastrophic to happen, but the back of your mind, there's a little part of you. It's like, this could go really bad, and I could see this whole fucking thing unfold. And he gets up there on top of that, and he takes that selfie, man. He's just looking out over off that fucking tower. It's a pretty good seat, man. Probably a pretty good feeling to free solo that bitch and then just stand up there and take a selfie. It's pretty cool.
You got to be a special white breed to do some shit like that.
Yeah,
like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, I don't get it.
He doesn't have an amygdala.
Because that selfie, like, that's literally like, I mean, doing that selfie, I guess, is his personal, like, ultimate goal, just to get up there and be like, I did it. But, like, I don't know what.
I don't think it's the selfie.
It's not the selfie, dude. I think he's just trying to conquer like whatever he can climb. He wants to climb it. You know?
He's so robotic. I don't know if you saw it that when he got to the top, his wife was like, "We should say hi to the kids," and he was like, "Well, no, they're probably asleep."
Yeah, and just everything there.
Yeah,
he was
because
like,
obviously
all right.
some screws loose.
Hugging him, like, I'm so glad you're alive. He was like, okay, all
I mean,
right.
you got to take the selfie for people to believe you if they're not recording him, right?
You
Bro,
are
it
on
was
Netflix.
all broadcast on Netflix
No,
across the
I
entire
know, but
world.
like that's
what?
not. Is that the only time he's
fuck?
done that, or
It's a cool selfie.
don't people like this do this on their free time without cameras and shit? Like he's had to do this before.
Bro, you can't
Yeah.
go climb a fucking skyscraper.
Can you guys
There's
vote on
guys
this?
who do
Because
it.
my
There's
worst seat
definitely
deals with this.
guys who climb skyscrapers that are not
Nolan, your
they're
vote.
not cleared to do it.
My best seat is Robert Kraft. I saw Mike Reese tweet after the game: 32 years of ownership, 15 AFC Championship game appearances. That's
Nolan's
like
all ball.
simultaneously.
He's just like, hey, I fuck this building climbing, dude.
That would be my worst seat, being on top of that building. But that stat is like simultaneously obviously believable because we've all lived through the greatness of the Pats franchise, but it's somehow simultaneously still unbelievable that they've been to 15 in the last 32
No, I
years.
know. It's crazy.
And
It's hard to
isn't that within the amount of time that Jerry Jones has owned the cow or his last Super Bowl? Like 30 or 15.
Oh, maybe.
That's crazy. Yeah, and Tanner went Robert Kraft as well. That gets the dub. Chris, you have 3. Bo and Nate both with 2. We're moving on to worst seat.
Okay, my worst seat dealing with the Alex Honnold broadcasting thing. Netflix people calling Alex Honnold's ascent of a tall building. Not only was the production of this particular broadcast absolutely brutal, like unreal, like the holes in this broadcast. Seth Rollins ran out of words, dude. He was like, yeah, I mean, imagine calling a play-by-play of a guy scaling a building, which is something you don't do at all. You're a wrestler. Nobody does. They have a chick on who's done stuff like this. And it was like everything she said, Seth Rollins was like, yeah, I totally know what you mean. I totally know what you mean. This is, but you got to conquer your fear up there. It's just like when you wrestle in front of thousands of people. I was like, no, it's not at all. Like he could die. And so I just
die the wrestling ring. Come on.
it's a tough ask to be like, hey, you got to call the ascent of a building that's got 8 dragons and it's like 6,000 feet high. And the guy's going to like, I turned it on with the kids and I was like, guys, because we all wanted to watch something. We didn't know it was on. And I go, let me get on Netflix, see what's on. They go, that. So I go, oh, that guy's been on Greenlight. By the way, he's been on Greenlight. You could go back and look. He was a great guest. We had him for 30 minutes after a free solo. But my kids, they were like, this is great, Dad. I go, he could die. Like they're going to cut the feed, but he could die. Are you guys okay with that? I just want to make sure you're okay with that. And they were like, yeah, I think they're fine. You're fine with that. He goes through the next dragon, and my 7-year-old goes, yeah, you can change the channel, Dad. So we turned it off and we kept coming back to it. But that was honestly, I know I'm voting worst seat. That was the closest to watching a live broadcast that looked fictional to me of all time. It looked like it wasn't real, dude. It was the most futuristic thing to be watching something so potentially catastrophically terrible on live TV. And there were like people in the windows and shit. It was unreal. Worst seat. Seth Rollins and the gang, they had to call the ascent of a building. It's really tough.
Yeah. Chris, I mean, you're talking about that not being like wrestling and how wrestling, like you can't die. Don't forget that 1998, The Undertaker threw Mankind off Hell in a Cell and plummeted 16 feet through the announcer's table. All right. So wrestling is dangerous as well. Anyway, moving on. Worst seat for me, we kind of touched on this already with one of our esteemed callers to the locals landline. I'm just going to put it simply. It's the, being in the room for the Eagles offensive coordinator search.
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good right now when you see all these other teams. You see McDaniels or, going to the Chargers. Dable doesn't want to go to Philly, all that kind of shit. Coaches are getting plucked off the streets left and right, and you're still looking for your coordinator. Bad seat.
They're getting to the point where they're like, I got these cheeseburgers, man. But you got another movie.
Worst seat. Bo Nix watching the team he brought all the way into the playoffs, having to sit up there in that box with a stiff, sore ankle, probably perked up, probably drugged up, hoping your team would win, and just to see your team lose that game, that just sucks. That's just the worst seat. And it's like you just can't. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do, and you did everything you could do to get them there. And then you just can't do anything but sit up here and cheer. I just feel like that's the worst seat. And like I feel like low key, like even if you're not a sore loser or if you're a great teammate, I feel like that's still the worst seat, like for him, whether they win or lose that game. Like realistically.
Bo Nix gets my vote for worst seed. If he had played in that game, the Broncos would have won by 3 or 4 points. It would have been sick.
What a realistic Broncos fan.
By a field goal, huh?
Yeah, would have won by a field goal. Tanner went Bo Nix as well. Nolan, your vote?
Yeah, I'm going to go Bo Nix as well.
Yeah.
Especially seeing how May affected the game scrambling. Could have made a difference.
Yeah.
Running around in the snow. Everybody wants to do it. Hollow Man.
Hollow Man, I'm giving to Sean Payton. It's easy to, I suppose we give it to the returner, but I just think Sean Payton had it all lined up for him, even with the backup quarterback. Like the first 28 minutes of the game, you're like, dude, our defense is good enough to shut these guys out. And you find a way to blow the game. And I'm not saying it was all down to that call, but the mismanagement at different points in the game, and Stidham throwing the ball backwards after all the hyping up you did of the quarterback, and we all bought it, but we didn't think you were going to win 30-27. The script of the game was win a fucking low scoring game. I think it's Sean Payton.
Stidham.
What'd you say?
His nickname is Stidham.
Stidham. Might have needed to sit him after that mistake.
I'm sorry, Reed.
Dude, he didn't play that bad. He just was boneheaded a time or two.
Oh, man. My worst seat, Chris kind of threw it out there. I'm going to say Xavier Smith. Like, it just has to feel terrible to take a punt like off your face, or to drop a punt, to fall, just to do anything except catch a punt when that's primarily all you do on a football team. And it's just like, it's not all you do, but like just for special teams wise, that's your one job as a punt returner, is just to secure the ball. Just secure the ball. That's it. That's it. Everything you do after is plus, and it's extra. It's great. But to drop that ball in that moment, and whether it's nerves, whatever it is, it just I can't imagine. I can't imagine how hollow you would feel like to drop a punt in that spot, and then for the game to end up the way it is, and realistically, not one play ruins a game for a team. But if people are looking at a play that ruined this game for them, you're high on the totem pole, buddy.
But you said it, though. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he will. I think he will. I don't know what type of guy he is. Some people, they can get their minds away from stuff like that and be like, hey, there's other things to worry about in life than
God is
dropping
good.
this punt.
It's the sun's up this morning. Yeah. Got it.
But no, it's gonna suck. It absolutely is gonna suck, and he's definitely gonna have a few when you're nodding off and thinking about
waking up.
You'll definitely have a few of those, and hopefully his significant other, they can calm him down.
I thought you were gonna say hopefully his significant other doesn't leave him.
Oh no!
Damn, dude. All right, what you got, Bo?
Yeah, I mean, I had Xavier Smith too. Let me think about this for a sec.
The chat has a great one.
I'm gonna go with the Titans. You know, you fire Mike Vrabel and he instantly goes to the Super Bowl. Like that's a bad seed. I understand that they just hired Robert Saleh and they got Cam Ward and all that good stuff, but like that's gotta fucking sting a little bit. Titans are not a great organization, you know, in my opinion. So for them to fucking fire Vrabes and he instantly has the kind of success he does, that's tough. We'll say Titans.
All right, Nolan, your vote.
Chris, Sean Payton. Got to manage the game.
I like fucking Bows though, man. Jeez.
Tanner went Sean Payton as well. I was going Bo with the Titans. Sean Payton wins it.
Fucking Tanner never votes for me. Hey Tanner. Look at me. Fuck you.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the Titans, they also John Schneider, when he drafted Nick Emanwari, he traded up with the Titans. So just more Titans news. I was just looking at I was like, who the fuck? I was going to give an STL memorial to whoever if they had like a scout that found this fucking mutant. But I'll give you my STL memorial. I'm gonna go
take me. Don't take.
I'm gonna go Clint Kubiak.
Oh, cool.
I just think like he really shined yesterday. I mean, everybody's going to make it about the quarterback, and it is, but a great marriage between the quarterback and the coordinator. Again, this guy was cooking. That was their best day of offense in the biggest stage. I know they've had more productive days of offense, but like, let's not be Sammy semantics here. They're playing for the fucking NFC Championship, and they're playing a team that's owned them all season defensively, and they had their best game.
Sammy semantics. I got an STL memorial. We got a guy going to the Super Bowl. He's got two nice, beautiful legs, and that's Drake Maye's legs. Get my STL memorial. He did a great job rushing, man. This game was 10-7. You would have told me that this game would have been decided by his two fucking ham hocks. I would have been a little surprised. So Drake Maye's legs. He's got some nice legs. Nice thighs, buddy.
STL memorial. I'm giving it to Leonard Taylor, Patriots practice squad guy who got called up the night before the game, and he was the one to get his finger on that tipped kick. And
oh yeah,
it's just a situation as a guy that played on the practice squad and been on the practice squad. I was unfortunate to be on a team that went to the Super Bowl, but just to think. To be on the practice squad for majority of a year or for a season with a team, and the night before the championship game, you, for whatever reason, you get a chance and you get pulled up and you get into this game, and maybe you had a significant role in this game. Maybe you didn't have a significant role. Don't know how many plays Taylor played, but it doesn't matter because you made this play and you tipped that pass, and you guys win this game the way you did. And it's one of those things where, like, you got to get the STL memorial, and that has to be a great feeling for a practice squad guy just to kind of, hey, you show up in your spot. You never know when your number's called, and when you do get your number called, to go out there and to make a play that people are going to remember. It's fire.
It's a pretty good one there.
Bo, Tanner went with your pick, so you keep doing
Tanner,
that.
we're back, baby. We're fucking back. It's my boy
calling
T.
him out.
Best buddies.
Best buddies.
So Tanner went with Drake Maye's legs. Nolan.
I'm going with Leonard Taylor on that tipped kick. Great call, Nate.
Leonard Taylor. Leonard Taylor gets the dub. Nate's at 3. Chris is at 4. Bo, you got 1.
Anybody remember? Thank God for Tanner. Anybody remember who the guy was that blocked the double doink? Everybody still thinks that fucking poor kicker Parkey. He went on like Good Morning America about it, but it wasn't even really fully his fault. Like somebody tipped that kick. Does anybody remember who tipped the kick? In the chat on
It's
the
on the
pod.
tip of my tongue.
Okay. Yeah, Trayvon Hester. We got in the locker room. And dudes were like, yeah, he fucking blew it. Ha, ha, ha. And Trayvon's like, dude, I got a piece of it. Everybody's like, bullshit, dude. No way. You're a liar, dude. No way, dude.
He's got to put that shit on his LinkedIn. Come on.
No,
Guys
Trayvon's my
was
dude. Trayvon Hester's the man, dude. That was awesome.
That's
Okay,
nice.
MVP, I'm going Sam Darnold.
Game ball.
I know. Game ball, I'm going Sam Darnold. Pretty simple for me. I mean, biggest stage. You know, everybody in the media and like on a spectrum of doubters to fanatics. Like I'm on the right side of that thing, but I'm not gonna lie and say I knew that coming in the game that he was gonna throw for 3 touchdowns, 100 plus yards in the red zone, 100 plus rating in the red zone, fucking ambitious game plan. He was the reason they won the game.
Okay. Game ball. I'm giving it to the Dixon. Michael Dixon, 5 punts, 45.2 yards average, and all 5 punts downed inside the 20. I feel like he was huge in this game for the Seahawks, and I think he'll be a huge factor for the Seahawks in this Super Bowl. Being able to corner coffin kicks in year 2026 as a punter, I think is just goated. And it's crazy that like I just feel like the evolution of the game, you would think that punters would be able to do this like multiple times a game, and he does. Like he's able to do it, but you would think that more punters maybe would be able to do this more for their teams and getting field position, and just seeing him do that in real time is just like it's fire. So
how about the punts that Denver wasted? Crawshaw had like the best game ever.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
He had some boomers.
Boom.
Bo?
Yeah, I'm not going to be giving my game ball to anyone on special teams. My game ball is going to go to Vrabel. Dude, he's a fucking stud, man. He's one of those coaches I really would have liked to have played for. Just kind of mentioned this a second ago with the Titans stuff, but you know, taking the team from 14 losses or whatever the fuck it was last year, immediately you know, having such a successful season with kind of elevating Drake Maye. And then, I mean, even kind of we've alluded to this. It's a very good roster, but it's certainly not the most talented roster in the NFL. So, like, just getting the most out of his guys. Obviously, like, you know, one of those coaches who walks a really fine line between being a player's coach, but also being a total hard ass. And I think he has a very good idea of who he is as a coach. You know, what he gets out of his players. So a lot of respect for Vrabes. You know, really excited about him up in New England. So game ball, Vrabes.
All right, fellas, what's the final tally here?
Tanner goes with Sam Darnold. I am going with Mike Vrabel, and Nolan's going with
Sam Darnold.
boom. 5
Holy
for Chris.
My life's going to be a lot fucking better now.
Man.
Not. But that was fun, guys.
Congrats, dude. Is that your
Thank
first
you. I
one?
appreciate it. Hey, look, normally we end the show with a Monday Night Football look ahead or some sort of prediction, but this is not a normal week, right? We got the big game in 2 weeks. It's also not a normal week because the state murdered another protester a few days ago in broad daylight, and they lied about it immediately. And they lie like we don't give a shit, that we see multiple angles of what transpired perfectly. I mean, they killed the guy for filming, and surveillance goes both ways. They bank on the fact that we're so dumb or beaten down with the gradual erosion of norms, an erosion of a shared acceptance of truth based in reality that you're just going to accept it. We had 10 years to read the fucking tea leaves, and I do suspect in a lot of ways it's too late to undo things quickly. Believe me, I'm not self-important enough to think that anything I say makes a fucking difference. But what I'm not going to do is close the show like everything is fucking normal, because it should never feel normal to see what's happening right now in this country. And ultimately, I know some people are turned off by me saying this, but I built this show from the ground up, 7 years in the running, busted my ass to own my own product, and I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want to say. And so if you don't like it, then don't catch us when we come back later in the week on Friday. But I just had to say that. I'm not one of these people that thinks like talking's going to do anything. If talking were worth a shit, we wouldn't be here, because we all did a lot of talking over the last decade. But opposing what's happening right now doesn't make you radical. It doesn't make you a leftist. It doesn't make you a fucking communist. You don't even have to be a Democrat or a fucking liberal. You're an American. You're somebody that has empathy. And I think it transcends politics, man. I hate what I see, and it's not normal. So I didn't want to close the show in a normal way. Having said that, I don't know if saying this, puts me on some sort of list. I really don't give a shit. It's something that has really brought the mood down a lot in this country lately, and I'm sorry to see it. And so I don't know if anybody has anything to add. You don't have to. I just wanted to close the show saying that. Bo?
Yeah, I'd like to add something real quick. Obviously, I appreciate you saying that, giving us a platform to kind of speak our beliefs here on this podcast. And listen, we fuck around a lot. We joke around a lot. Obviously, we talk a lot of football, but there's a lot of big things going on in the world and in our country. I've talked a lot about how I'm from Minnesota. I'm a proud Minnesotan. I don't really want to talk about that situation as much, but I do want to highlight, a lot is being made in the media about protests in Minnesota, things like that. And I want to say, from personal experience, people I know, the community in Minnesota has really come together in a very fucking dark time. Some of the stuff that you're seeing, I don't think accurately portrays what's going on in Minnesota. There's a lot of, peaceful protests, community support, and things like that. So I just want to shout out the community of Minneapolis for really kind of coming together, banding together during a fucking terrible situation that frankly never should happen. And if you guys don't like some of this political talk, you can fucking tune into a different podcast like Chris said.
It's not political talk, dude. This is just, hey, listen, I listened to podcasters for 4 years. Get this guy elected. Okay. So I'm not going to sit here and then be like, well, I got to sit on my fucking hands because people don't like political talk on a podcast. Is a reason I waited to the end of the show. I wanted to give everybody, the whole show to enjoy football. Listen, if we think differently, if we have different ideas, we have different ideologies, that's fine. But if this is a deal breaker for you, believe me, I'm not going to beg you to come back and listen to the show or watch the show. I don't mind thinning the herd, and I'm good. I have enough money, and I don't need this podcast to keep my lights on. So that's the privilege I have is being able to say what the fuck I want, and I'm going to say what the fuck I want. So, and it ain't political. This transcends fucking politics, dude. So, sorry, Bo.
No, you're good, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, call names on the way out. Call them on the way out. I listened to a lot of fucking podcasts for 4 years, and to hear guys now say, "Oh, I don't know what this is surprising to me. What are they doing? I didn't vote for this." Yes, you did. All right, and you helped them. You helped this be the reality. So, and I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of comedians and podcasts and shit, and nobody says to those guys, "Hey, I don't want politics in my comedy." Well, you're gonna get fucking 5 minutes of real life shit at the end of this football show. Because this is my show. Take care. We will be back on Friday.